So you're having trouble overcoming certain flying errors? Don't worry, I got you. And in today's video, I'm gonna cover 10 flying errors new pilots make and how to avoid them. Watch to the end, because you don't want to miss mistake number 10. Mistake number 1, placing too much focus on what's inside the cockpit. This mistake often occurs when student pilots are overly fixated on what's going on inside the airplane. They become overly fixated on the instruments, the controls, the systems, everything that's going on inside of the airplane instead of getting their head and eyes outside of the aircraft, seeing what's going on. This leads to a lack of situational awareness. Over-focusing inside the aircraft leads to miscues with various maneuvers that you might be executing, whether it's keeping your nose on the horizon during the steep turn maneuver or keeping your wingtip pointed at your reference point on the ground and adjusting for how the wind is pushing the aircraft in the air. It's important to glance at the instruments, get back outside the airplane. Glance, get back outside the airplane. I know you hear your flight instructor say it over and over again, but this is a good reason as to why they do that. Mistake number 2, overlooking items from the pre-flight checklist. Pilots are trained to use checklists to ensure the aircraft's safety and airworthiness. Overlooking items on the checklist, whether accidentally or intentionally, can absolutely lead to critical safety oversights. Failing to properly complete the checklist can lead to issues and mishaps. Neglecting the checklist can jeopardize the flight and definitely cause safety issues. So make sure you are thoroughly going over that checklist. Make sure you are checking off every item visually as well as touching it to make sure that you're doing it right and confirming that it's done. Mistake number 3, and this is the most important mistake of them all. It's the fact that you're not subscribed to the channel. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, boost me up on the algorithm so I can continue to bring you this content. The Private Pilot Resource Guide. It is filled with a bunch of great information to help you along your journey of becoming a pilot. And if you're a veteran pilot, it's got a ton of good information in there for you to just refresh your memory on a lot of the stuff that you've already done, because some things have changed. By downloading the ebook, you're helping support the channel, you're helping support what I do, and I am definitely here for your success. All right. Mistake number 3, not having proper control of the aircraft. Proper aircraft control is fundamental to safe flight. Failing to maintain proper precise control during certain phases of flight, like takeoff, landing, out in the practice area, executing various maneuvers. This can lead to potentially hazardous situations. Letting your altitude drop out your cross check and getting too low. Letting your airspeed drop out of your cross check, getting too slow, potentially stalling the aircraft. Or you might be executing certain maneuvers and potentially exceeding the critical angle of attack of the aircraft, which could result in a stall and loss of control of the aircraft. Make sure you're staying on top of these things, staying on top of your altitude, staying on top of your airspeed, and staying on top of making sure the aircraft is coordinated in flight during all your maneuvers. Mistake number 4, not studying enough and preparing for all of your exams. Yeah, I know this one seems pretty simple, but you'd be surprised at how many people don't do this. They don't do the book work. And again, I get it. We just want to show up to the airfield. We want to get in the airplane. We want to fly around and do cool stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it's not all just flying. There is book work, a significant amount of knowledge that you have to get in order to successfully pass through the training. And when you neglect the books, this is going to result in inadequate knowledge and skill. So to avoid all that, make sure you're hitting the books hard. Mistake number 5, not having the right attitude. So what's meant by having the right attitude? Well, in aviation, the right attitude means having a safety-oriented, disciplined, and professional mindset. A negative or complacent attitude can result into poor decision-making and adherence to safety procedures. It can also lead to certain behaviors like pushing the limits. There's an old adage in aerospace, and it says, don't do anything dumb. So before every flight, go over your I'm safe checklist and make sure you got that attitude in check. Mistake number 6, poor planning. So what's meant by poor planning? It is not adequately preparing for a flight. This includes skipping a thorough pre-flight briefing, neglecting to check the weather conditions, failing to calculate accurate fuel requirements, or possibly ignoring the need for alternate routes or alternate airports to land at. Fact of the matter is, if you fail to thoroughly plan for a flight, this could lead to issues during the flight. And trust me, you would much rather be down here wishing to be up there than to be up there wishing to be down here. So make sure you put some time and effort into planning out the flights. Make sure your calculations are all good to go, and leave yourself plenty of options for your flight. Mistake number 7, poor communication. Effective communication is vital. Whether it's you communicating with air traffic control, whether it's you communicating to your designated pilot examiner, your flight instructor, or any crew member that's on the flight with you, communication is key. Poor communication can result in misunderstandings, and those misunderstandings can turn into mistakes very quickly. So make sure your communication is clear, it's intentional, so that everybody is on the same page and everybody knows what's going on and what needs to be done. And this will ensure that the flight goes smoothly. Mistake number 8, overconfidence. Overconfidence occurs when a pilot underestimates the risk and overestimates their abilities. This can lead to risky decision making, such as trying flying maneuvers, flying in adverse conditions beyond their skill level or experience. Again, keep that attitude in check. Keep this overconfidence in check. Manage those risks. Do that I'm safe checklist. Make sure you're good to go for the flight, and make sure you're not doing anything unnecessary that you really don't have to do, or that you really shouldn't be doing. Mistake number 9, fatigue. Physical and mental exhaustion happens. You're in training, you're in flight training, you're learning new stuff, you've got a different sleep pattern, you got a different daily pattern. Oftentimes, you're having long days and really short nights. You're studying a lot. You're under stress, under a lot of pressure. And then after a long day of hitting the books, long day of ground school, long day of simulators with your flight instructor, you step out to the aircraft. And now you're about to fly while you're fatigued. And flying fatigue leads to decreased situational awareness, impaired decision making, thereby exponentially increasing the likelihood of errors and missteps. Make sure you're getting proper rest. Make sure you're staying properly hydrated. Make sure you're eating properly. When you're at the FBO, you're at the training site, at the airport, make sure take some breaks, take some time to step away, get yourself together, take a few deep breaths, relax a little, and just get your mind right. Listen to what your body is telling you. Continue to go through that I'm safe checklist, because if you're fatigued, you do not want to be in the aircraft, flying the aircraft. Mistake number 10, distracted flying. Distractions can include using electronic devices. You got your iPad, you're messing around on the Garmin or the G1000, whatever type of glass you got in the airplane, engaging in non-essential conversations. So we all know those critical times in the airplane, takeoff, landing, where we should be observing a sterile cockpit or focusing on tasks unrelated to flying. We're in that social media age now. Everybody wants to do a reel, send a post. They want to do something for social media. They want to post their Instagram. They want to post their Snapchat. They want to post on their TikTok, things that they're doing and all the incredible experiences that they're having in flight school, and all the cool places that they're flying to, and all the cool cloud formations that they see on these cross countries when they're building time. Doing all of this can definitely lead to loss of situational awareness. Make sure you're managing these risks by paying attention to what you're doing. Put the cell phones down, Stop messing with the GoPros and all the other action cameras that you got set up, trying to get the right shot. Pay attention to what you're doing. Set all that stuff up beforehand. Set it and forget it, okay? You don't need to be posting on social media. Just pay attention to the flight. Make sure you're focused on the flight, focused on what the instruments are telling you, focused on where you're going. Make sure you have all those distractions put away, tucked off to the side. Focus on the flight. And that's 10 common flying errors that most new pilots make. And don't make the common error of not clicking on this video right here.